and welcome to the September energy update. For those that don't know me, my name is Chloe Cousins and I work with sacred sites, with the grid. I work also with people's individual energy matrices to support them to shift and to navigate these incredibly intense energies that we are all experiencing on the planet, and to support each one of us to really be able to step into the new earth frequencies and to really birth what is most dearest to our hearts. So to really manifest and shift our reality. So let's have a look at this September. What is going on energetically and how can you support yourself through these frequencies that are really very, very catalytic. Let's put it that way. So the basis of September really is the eclipses. And the way I'm experiencing it and seeing it, it's like September is a month of two halves. The first half, I would say up until about the 21st of September, is a liminal space. It's a space, it's an energy where we're in transition. And I will talk about that in a moment, because it can be quite challenging to navigate for many different reasons, but mostly because the ego gets fearful in that liminal space, because it wants to feel in control. It wants to feel like it's anchored in somewhere. And what a liminal space is the very opposite of that. The liminal space is where there is no anchor, because there's deep, deep transformation and alchemy occurring. And so in that liminal space, it's like being in the void. You can't see, you're in the unknown. So that's a liminal space, and I do want to dive in a little bit deeper into that in a moment. And then after around the 21st, 22nd, is when we are in the anchoring phase. So once we've gone through that liminal space and we've released and cleared as much as we possibly can, it then creates energetic space within our own matrix, within our own geometries, to then allow the new to anchor in. So it's very much a death rebirth portal, September. And there's two other energetics that are going on there that are really supporting that. That's the 999, which is pretty rare portal. And that's like very, very deep karmic closures, along with the equinox on the 22nd of September. And what the equinox does is it takes, because the planet is doing that, it's going to support each one of us because we're connected to the planet, right, energetically. It's taken us into a point of absolute balance. And I call that 0 point consciousness. And I work with the community hugely around the 0 point consciousness, because there is so much wisdom and power in being able to get into energetically that 0 point consciousness. That's kind of like the launch point to move you into the new. And that's why I find September is so potent, because we have at the beginning the lunar eclipse. So let's talk about this. So let's talk about this liminal space first of all. So we have the lunar eclipse in Pisces. And it's in the North Node. So the North Node is where you're moving forwards to. It's like your destiny accelerator in terms of it's supporting you to move forwards into that. So it's the future vision. It's in Pisces. So Pisces is the imagination. It's your intuition. It's that ethereal space where everything's a little bit floaty, nothing's anchored. And it's the perfect space to support this North Node activation so that you can start to connect into, even if it's like still in the subconscious and you're not fully aware of it, but it's supporting you to connect into those new beginnings that are your soul's new beginnings. They're like those, the deepest desires, the deepest wishes that come from the soul, that come from your heart, that you're wishing to manifest going forwards. Now, what's so interesting about this is that this whole year is a 9 years. So we've got that 999 that we've just been in this September, which is a very, very incredible point where we're closed out and closing out some really deep karma here. Like these endings, I feel these endings, you could have been working on these endings for at least a year, even up to 2 years, right? And put in the comments if that's you, if you know this is something that you've been working at closing out over it could be the last month, the last 6 months, the last year, even 1.5 to 2 years. Like this is a massive, massive closure. But this karmic closure is not only this lifetime, but most likely will be over lifetimes. And this is really important because we're midway between this what I've called this destiny decade, right? 2025. And it's that tipping point where this whole year has been just a consistent endings and beginnings in preparation for this brand new beginning starting next year. So to me, this eclipse portal is instrumental to you setting up for your new beginnings next year. So the more that you can work with this liminal space right now, which is up until around the 21st or so of September, it means the stronger. So that means in that liminal space of letting go more than anything, of releasing and letting go, the deeper that you can go with that, the more potent the birth will be, the more potent the rebirth will be going forwards on the 22nd of September to anchor that in. So up until the 21st of September, being in that liminal space can be really challenging. And it's challenging because the ego wants to feel safe. And safe to the ego means what's known. Even if you don't like what's known, it's still what's known. And as long as it knows and it feels in control, even if it's not really what it wants, but it's like, it's familiar, and the ego will take that, like, yeah, I'm kind of happy with that, like, that will do me, sort of thing. And so when you're in that liminal space, when you're in the void, there is like nothing concrete, because the old is releasing within you. Now, there's a lot of alchemy and magic that happens in this liminal space, but most people kind of put the brake on that because of the unconscious fears that come up where the ego is not feeling safe. It doesn't feel safe, it doesn't feel in control, it's in an unknown space, it can't see where it's going, it can't see what's really going on, it can't feel it. And in fact, what's probably happening when you're in that liminal space is you may be experiencing fear, you may be experiencing feeling stuck, you may be feeling overwhelmed, you may feel quite a lot of grief coming up, like quite teary, you may be experiencing quite a lot of emotions coming up. You may feel like you don't know who you are anymore because there's a dissolving. You're going into that goop phase where you're deconstructing some very deep patterning that you've held, and it can feel very, very disorientating when you're in that. And this is one of the reasons why I like to share these energetics with you, because I feel just the fact of knowing that will kind of help you sink into it a little bit deeper so that you can go with the flow of it. And it's one of the reasons why I felt really drawn to offer a 21-day inner mystic immersion. And the reason for that is that the way that you navigate that liminal space is through your inner mystic. So what do I mean by the inner mystic? Well, the inner mystic is really the ability to go within, energetically, to go within and to feel the feels and to connect with what you're truly thinking. And it's to do it with compassion and love for yourself, and to do it with being in that observer stance, which means you're witnessing what you're feeling, you're witnessing what you're thinking, but you're not attaching to it. You're not making any, you're not creating any narratives around it. And this is one of the most powerful aspects of the inner mystic. You're literally going within. It's self-knowledge. It's self-awareness. And why it's so important is that I'm not talking about an awareness or knowledge at a conscious level, right? And this is what sometimes we forget. I'm talking about a subconscious level, which by its very definition means that you're not aware of it. You're not aware of it. So these liminal spaces are so magical because through your dream states, through going within, through connecting with what you're feeling and allowing those emotions to flow through you, you start to deconstruct very deep patterning. And that deep patterning, those specific deep patternings that's being deconstructed right now, is in support of your destiny. It's in support of you moving forwards, because that's what the eclipses are. They're destiny accelerators. So let's go back to that first eclipse, that lunar eclipse in Pisces. So it's a lunar eclipse, but it's in the north node. So that's moving forward. But because it's a lunar eclipse, it's to do with the moon, it's a subconscious, right? So there's a duality within that eclipse within itself. It's taking you forwards, but it's taking you forwards by taking you within and taking you backwards, as in inner child stuff and past life stuff, right? And because it's in Pisces, which is the final zodiac of the zodiac sign, so it's completions, and also because Pisces is all around your intuition, it's all around your emotions, the moon and the subconscious, it's supporting you to delve deep. the deeper you can delve, the more you can extract and the more you can deconstruct, because you can only deconstruct a pattern within your energetic system that you're aware of. That's why working with the moon, working with Pisces, working with a specific eclipse right now, up until around the 21st of September, is so crucial, because it's supporting you to connect to your subconscious, to connect to your dream states, to connect to your imagination. And it's simultaneously bringing up the patterns that for you to move more into your destiny and purpose. These are the patterns that need to be cleared. And it's also supporting you through that process to get clearer on the vision going forward. So potent, potent, this eclipse. So that's that liminal state. And with the 21-day mystic immersion, if you're feeling called, if you're feeling a pull towards that, I've already completed, I've done one masterclass in it already, which we look at your astrology chart, because in your astrology chart, it's going to help you pinpoint those areas of life that these eclipses are highlighting for you. When you know that, it just supports you so much, because you open up your consciousness more to it, and you start to open up more to the dreams that are coming through, because you can start connecting the dots in your dreams, in your journaling, and just in your daily life as to what's playing out for you. And it can be so potent, because it's giving you a focus. So I've done a whole masterclass on that, just to find where you've got 15 degrees of Pisces in your chart and 15 degrees of Virgo, the houses in that. So whole masterclass on that. But actually the most important out of all of that is that every single day I do a mystic drop. And that's where I tune into my own inner mystic and also my higher mystic. And I channel through whatever comes through for the group. And also sometimes I include an activation or process to support you. Now this is really important, because there's two things going on. There's one thing is the awareness, which is so important without a doubt. But then the second thing is actually a reconfiguration of your energetic field. And that's what my activations do. That's what the processes that I channel through for you support you to do. Also, when I do sacred site work as well, that supports you to do that. But I'll talk about that in a moment with the solar eclipse. But right now, as I'm recording this, we're right in this liminal phase. We're right in this goop phase. And so these are the mystic drops that have come through and the activations that have come through. And so every single day, there'll be a new mystic drop. It's not long. It's about 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes each day. And then sometimes you'll have an activation that goes with that as well to support you. And what this does, and it's actually really the communities that's the most potent, because then in the community, everyone's sharing what's coming through for them, the dream states, what they're experiencing, and then people are commenting and supporting, and then it's kind of activating someone else that then says, oh my goodness, that just reminded me about this and that. And it creates a really potent vortex that keeps you, because it's the daily consistency that will make all the difference through this portal, right? It's not like what you just do, like an insight that you have just like a one-off insight. It's the daily insights, the daily shifts that you create right now that add up. And it's really interesting, because we've got the next eclipse that's coming up on the 21st is in Virgo. And that's kind of what Virgo is all about. The Virgo is all around your daily habits. It's daily processes. It's what this, your rituals, it's your practices, what are you doing on a daily basis that's going to support you to bring in this next level of your destiny and purpose? But I'll talk more about that in a moment. Let me just finish off on this liminal phase that we're in with this lunar eclipse in Pisces. So whilst we're in that whilst we're in this lunar eclipse phase right now, in this liminal space, that's where you don't really know what's going on, and it requires a lot of trust, like literally radical trust and faith, that whilst all these emotions are coming up, whilst you're feeling the grief, whilst you're releasing and letting go of some really deep, deep karmic stuff, for some of you, what you're releasing, has already been released out of your reality, but it's like the aftermaths, it's like the holographic residues of it that you're still finally completing, because it's been a long process of releasing. And you've already gone through a lot of grief, you've already gone through a huge amount of growth, but it's just the final pieces that are needing to come up into your awareness so that you can fully step into the new. And a lot of it is around claiming your sovereignty. I'll repeat that because it's really important. A lot of it is around reclaiming your sovereignty in some shape or form around this, or these deep closures, these deep karmic closures that you've been through. And so again, the mystic drops that I've already done are really working with that. For example, the one I've just done today was a liminal release process, supporting you to see that situation or that person or whatever's been closing out for you over the last month, or maybe it might have been really rapidly in the last week, or it's been a more longer release over the last year or two that you've been kind of working through bit by bit. It's supporting you to see it as an energetic construct, as an energetic geometric matrix, as it were, and really connect into any fibers or cords of attachments that you may still have, and understand what they are, so that you can repattern what you now need to repattern, so that you can fully move on. Because what's left, what's gone, it's not the actual person or the situation. It's what you're really doing is looking at and connecting into the beliefs around it. That's where the gold is. That's where the empowerment is as you move through the grief and as you move through the feelings that it pulls up for you, it's really the underlying patterning that brought that situation or that person into your life in the first place, and that then as it released out, the understandings behind what that pattern and what that person and what that situation represented for you. That's the key here. Because then you can take those patternings and you can shift them, and you shift them in such an empowering way to the point that it builds so much more potency within you. You become so much more sovereign through that, and you tap more into your inner power through that. So that's that liminal space with that. Now, let's then look at that second half of this portal in September, the eclipse portal, and that's the solar eclipse. So the solar eclipse is a brand new meaning. I've got a boy, a big boy. No, sorry, a big girl. It's a big girl, not a big boy. I'm just going to show you her. Can you see her? Okay, let's go. she wants to come in, but I'm not going to let her in right now. She's sheltered. It is raining outside, but it's all good because it's sheltered. But she wants to come in and say hello. She's just come in with Finn, and I've not said hello to her. But she's happy now. She's fine a bone. So, but if you hear a bit of scratching at the window, it's Coco wanting to come and say hello. So, portal for the 21st of September is a solar eclipse. So, the solar eclipse is new beginnings, and it's new beginnings on steroids. So, any new beginnings, the depth of the new beginnings is directly related to the depth of the decoding and the letting go. So the more you can let go in that liminal space and to trust that process and deepen into that process, the deeper and more potent your new beginnings will be. So, what's interesting about this solar eclipse on the 21st? Well, there's a couple of things that are really interesting. But one of the things interesting is that it is in the South Node. Now, the South Node is what you're letting go of, or what you're getting complete around, or what is karmic around that. But karmic as in stuff that you can bring forwards with you, like what you can rely on because you've really mastered it in past lives, and what you're trying to move away from. So what do I mean by that? So that South Node is showing you kind of your default button. It's where whenever you're wishing to bring change in, transform or move forward, you'll probably default to that South Node because it's what's familiar. It's like what you've already mastered. It's what you've already got gifts in, and it's kind of what you feel generally quite comfortable in. And so often when we're trying to move forwards, what we can sometimes do is we kind of revert back to that South Node instead of moving forwards with that North Node, because the North Node is what's unfamiliar and it's our edge. And so it's really useful to understand where your South Node and North Node is in your chart, because that's going to help you understand what you're moving towards in this lifetime and what you're trying not to, you want to use that South Node, but you don't want to heavily emphasize that South Node over and above your North Node. And so the South Node currently is in Virgo. And so that's so again, you've got this duality. You've got, it's a new moon, so new beginning, solar eclipse, new beginning, but it's in the South Node, which is the karma. It's kind of what we're used to, and it's what's familiar, and it's what we can rely upon. There can also be a shadow there with Virgo. So you probably are feeling already or been picking up on themes around not feeling good enough, or like if you want to move forward, then it's got to be perfect, it's got to be really right. You might feel like you don't know enough, like who are you? Have you really got the expertise? Have you really got the knowledge? You need more certificates, you need more knowledge. It's, you're not enough. These are really, really classic Virgo themes, which will come up for us throughout this portal. So it's really understanding that and knowing how to move through that so that you can fully land into the new. Now, with this new beginning, but also conversely an ending as well, because it's in the South Node, what's really interesting is that the next day we have the eclipse. This is why September is so potent, and I'm loving it, although it's a little bit intense, but I am loving it because I understand how much this is supporting the collective, how much this is, is supporting each one of us, as long as we're riding with the energies of it, is that on the 22nd, we have the equinox. So the equinox is all around coming into a state of balance. Now, why is that important? Well, first of all, to say the reason the equinox supports us to be able to come into a state of balance is that that's what's happening with the planet. The planet is coming into a state of balance. We are connected to the planet, to Earth, to Mother Gaia through the grid. And so as she comes into a state of balance, it supports us to come into a state of balance. But why is that important? Well, that's important because there's a huge amount of spiritual technology around 0 point consciousness, right? And I do work with that with the holographic blueprint templating sessions. And you don't really need to understand the ins and outs of the technology. But what I do want to share with you is that for you to fully move forward into the new, to move from one hologram into another, for you to shift from one identity to another, whatever it is you're transforming, whatever you're wishing to move forwards with, which means a letting go and a rebirth of something for that to occur, you're going to need to consistently and continually get into these states of inner balance within yourself. Now, it really is easier said than done, because that inner state of balance, to be really, really potent, needs to be an inner state of balance within your light body, within your spiritual body, within your emotional body, within your mental plane, and within your physical body. So that means you're going to have to really balance up your light body. It means your emotions have to get to a state of inner balance as well, and harmony, like real harmony within yourself. It means your thoughts have to come into a state of inner balance. So there has to be this coherence, heart-brain coherence going on within you, and also within your physical body. So that's your nervous system, more so than anything. So all of that has got to balance it up to then allow this like shift. Like there's an internal shift that happens within yourself, and in that internal shift you may have a huge download of light codes, you may have a huge revelation, you may just feel like a huge expansion within your energy field. Like it can come about in, and you can experience it in many different ways, but it all comes down to you first being able to get into 0 point consciousness. Now, like I said, I work with this a lot. So I work with this within the Earth Star portal with sacred sites. So there are some specific sacred sites on this planet that support you to get into that 0 point consciousness. One of them is Chartres Cathedral. And the reason that Chartres Cathedral does that is because it holds both the black and white codes, both the black and the white ray simultaneously. So the black ray, it's a liminal space, it's the void, it's Mary Magdalene. And then the white ray, the white codes, that's the rebirth, right? That's the expansion, that's the consciousness. So you've got the subconsciousnness, it's the black ray, and the white ray, hard to say quickly, the white ray is your consciousness, it's the expansion, it's the birth, it's the rebirth. And Chartres holds both those codes at that grid point. Now, why is that important? Why would that be important for you to know this? Well, the thing with sacred sites is they're nodes on the planetary grid system. And so it means when you go there, either physically or energetically, and this is one of the things I do, is I take people there and take people to these planetary nodes energetically, is that you're then totally immersed in the energetics of that grid. It's powerful because it's like you don't get a bigger immersion than that, really, in terms of immersing yourself at a grid point that holds specific codes. And so I have a whole, I mean, it's a membership, but it's more than that. It's like a living field of frequency where every month we go to a different sacred site, and I do a live transmission from that site. And when you join, either live or listening to the replay, you get that opportunity to get an imprint, an energetic imprint of those codes. And that's huge for your energetic system. It's huge. It's like you're stamped with that imprint, and then you can work with that imprint to embody those codes. So that's also why I do an embodiment kit as well that goes with each of those sacred sites. Now, for September, the site we're going to do is Chartres, and I'm going to facilitate it over the solar eclipse. Now, if you're listening to this video afterwards, the replay is up. You get to listen to that. If you join the Earth Star portal, if you feel that's something that's just calling you and you know it's your next step for you, and we're going to be working with the white codes, the white Madonna codes at Chartres Cathedral to support, and this is over the solar eclipse, to support the birthing. Whatever it is you're birthing, which is for like really beginning next year, but this is the anchoring point of it. These white Madonna codes will support you to do that. Also, if you join the Earth Star portal, you'll also have access to all my other sacred site activations, I call them crystal Merkaba grid journeys, and you'll also have access to the Black Madonna codes. So that's Mary Magdalene frequency, that's working with the void, and I would highly, highly suggest you work with that whilst in that liminal space, depending on when you're listening to this video, of course. But at any time you feel you're going into the void, and we always do that, we're always at different points going into those void spaces, then the Black Madonna codes are absolutely amazing for working in that way. I'm just checking if there's anything else. So just in general, I just want to finish with saying, just in general, to navigate the whole of September, really a lot of it is go with the flow. Allow the emotions to flow through you. If you're getting stuck in that, it's because you're getting fearful and all of that, then get to bodies of water. If you can get to the ocean, amazing. But get to flowing bodies of water and tune into those flowing bodies of water, because they're going to really support you to move. That emotion is energy emotion. So you want to connect into something that's flowing, even it's having a shower, and consciously connecting in to the flow will support you. I've got inside the Earth Star portal, I think it's like over 80 frequency activations, and there's a whole section that just supports you in doing that if that's kind of calling you. So yeah, just navigating those liminal spaces for allowing the emotions to flow. And probably will feel grief coming up, so just allow those tears to flow. But also I would highly suggest writing and connecting in with your dreams, because your dreams are like the direct access to your subconscious, And that's one of the ways that your higher self is going to communicate with you, right? It's going to communicate with you to support you, to really connect into the bigger vision, the bigger picture for you, but also to connect into the patterns that you're holding through inner child, through childhood and or past life that has stopped you up until now to really stepping in and anchoring in to your vision. So I have if you want to work more with your dream state and journaling specifically, because journaling is going to keep you, like daily journaling during this portal, is going to keep you consistent and keep you connected to the synchronicities, to the magic, to your dream state, and unraveling what's going on for you. I find it really helps journaling, or just even speaking into your phone, like speaking it out loud, what you're experiencing or what your dreams are. So what I do have is a Mystic Manifestor blueprint, and I'll put the link below for you for that as well. If that's something, if you're feeling drawn, and you probably are if you've not already got like a daily practice set up for yourself, just because we've got a lot of those Virgo themes, which is that daily practice, that daily devotion, that sacred daily devotion of setting that up. And the Mystic Manifestor blueprint really supports you to do that. There's 12 sacred pathways. So when you click on, it's going to take you to like a calculator that calculates which of those 12 sacred pathways you're on. And then you'll have the opportunity to purchase that blueprint. People love it. They absolutely love it because it really supports them, one, to get clearer on their sacred pathway, because it's all linked to manifestation, but manifestation in the new way, manifestation in the Aquarian way, manifestation which works with your inner mystic. So it's not like an external old way of manifesting. It's a way that one manifests through the inner mystic. It's really about stepping away from the old way of doing things and stepping into a co-creational process with the universe. That's what the Mystic Manifestor ultimately is about. But to do that, you've got to first of all connect with your inner mystic. And that's what the Mystic Manifestor blueprint supports you to do. So if that's calling you as well, I'll put the link in below. So really enjoy this month. It's a transformational month. It's a catalytic month. It's a month that's going to set you up for the brand new beginnings of next year, and a whole new 9-year cycle that begins next year. So the way that you navigate this month, the way that you work with your energy this month, the way that you connect within yourself and shift frequency this month, the way that you connect into your subconscious and gain more clarity on the patterns and the visions going forward this month is what will set you up for a really, really incredible new beginnings for next year.